a toda la afición de la lucha libre. Este que les habla es Michael Morales Torres, integrante del equipo de lucha libre online. Y tenemos el enorme privilegio de presentarles a nuestro invitado en la noche de hoy. Ahora mismo está residiendo en California, pero de New Jersey para el mundo. Anteriormente conocido como Darren en la WWE. Actualmente Fred Roser, directamente de Japan Pro Wrestling. Mr. Roser, it is such an honor to have you as our guest. How are you doing today, sir?
Thanks for having me. You know, better late than never. We've been playing tag back and forth, but I'm a man of my word, and I always say don't die with the story and you tell it. So however I can share my story with the masses, I'm going to do it, and I'm doing it with you right now.
Thank you so much, sir. We know you've been busier than ever right now. You've been on United Wrestling Network, New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's been kind of a busy schedule for Fred Roser right now. But let's talk about how this career or this journey begins. Which was the pro wrestler or the pro wrestling match that changed your perspective about this industry and inspired you to become the gentleman you are today?
Well, I just celebrated a birthday November 2nd, just turned 37. So I've been a fan since I came out my mom's womb in 1983. So it were, you know, guys like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Jake the Snake, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Those are guys that had me hooked as a young kid. And I ultimately wanted to make this as a career. So those guys had me on the edge of my seat. You know, kids wanted to, you know, be doctors and lawyers and all that stuff. I wanted to be a WWF at the time wrestler. And my yearbook, my 12th grade yearbook, my last sentence said, WWF, here I come, because I was dead set on making this a career. And I did in 2009 when I beat out 75 guys and girls from all over the world. I beat them all out and I earned my contract. So since 1983, it's always been my laser-like focus to be a star.
Awesome, man. You were part of a pretty particular group. So you've been active for 18 years inside this industry. Your first appearance in WWE was in 2005. But let's talk a little bit forward to that. You were part of the first ever NXT. So everyone is so interested in NXT right now. But back then it was a reality show. And there were A-plus talent over there. You have Wade Barrett, you have Darren Young, you have many, many wrestlers over there. Skip Sheffield, formerly known as Ryback too. How was being part of that first concept of the original NXT?
I say all the time, every interview I do, and I get asked this question, I say I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it with a passion, because if I wanted to do American Gladiators or American Ninja Warrior or any type of obstacle type course game, I would have done that. But when you get put into a position where you go from wrestling to like juggling and all types of crazy stuff and you fail at it, then, you know, the fans, the WWE Universe, aren't going to really take you seriously, you know? So it was very tough for me. So I would literally have nightmares every time those yellow ropes would get turned on and tightened up for the show.
Wow, so I didn't expect that answer at all. Many people speak positively about NXT, but it wasn't because they didn't experience what you experienced before. It was a reality show. It was obstacle course. We saw Titus O'Neil falling with a beer keg, among many other things. So let's fast forward a little bit in time. You made a huge impact, and in your first appearance in WWE's main roster, along with your partners of the Nexus, you destroyed John Cena, the face of the company, destroyed all the ring, everyone around, Daniel Bryan, choked Justin Roberts. You guys made an impact. How did it feel for you making your debut in such an incredible way, attacking the face of the company at that point?
Yeah, it was something that we all needed to deliver. You know, we were doing the first season of NXT, and then we were in Miami, Florida, and we were brought into this office, and we were told by Vince McMahon and the higher ups that we were going to be doing this, and we definitely had to deliver, or if we didn't, we would have been fired. And it was a moment that I'll never forget, because it's in the history books of us causing complete havoc. And you know, you'll have guys like Chris Jericho and Edge, and I agree with them that Nexus should have dominated Team WWE, but you know, maybe WWE learned from their lesson in handling us when they started handling the Shield, because the Shield was, you know, dominant force all throughout their career. So, you know, you win some and you lose some. In that situation, it wasn't a loss. I learned, and I experienced some amazing things working with some incredible talent in WWE.
Awesome. Let's talk about WrestleMania 36. I believe you stated on a recent interview that Nexus was originally scheduled to appear, but the pandemic happened and destroyed every plan. How far were negotiations at that point in order for Fred Rosser to be a part of WWE's Nexus new version, or what was going to be what one-time appearance? Was going to be something more often? What they had in mind?
Well, you know, I have to knock on wood. As crazy as 2020 has been, I've been truly blessed with a lot of opportunities outside of wrestling. Right around January, February, I was involved in a musical, an off-Broadway musical in New York. So I was singing, dancing, acting, three things I had really never done except for my WWE experience. And Chris Jericho was a big influence in me doing that. And the reason why was because uh, you know, he does so much besides wrestling. He's got his rock group. He did Dancing with the Stars years ago. So I looked in the mirror and said to myself, you know, I'm 36. At 26, I wouldn't have taken on an off-Broadway musical role because it was maybe too feminine for me, I would think, years ago. But I'm 37, 36 at the time when I signed on to this musical. And it was the best decision I did because I had so much fun. I was one of the leads, and I hit a home run. I was singing, dancing, acting. So that all happened, and that all, finished around Valentine's Day. And then WWE called me up soon after and said that we wanted to have you back for WrestleMania Access, WWE Network interviews, who knows what else. So right after the musical, Valentine's Day, WWE called me up. I was on cloud nine, and then the pandemic hit, and then I got the unfortunate phone call that we wouldn't be coming in for WrestleMania, and they would be doing WrestleMania, obviously, at the Performance Center. But I can say that I'm not on the ban list with WWE because I had recently, I believe in April or May, I did their internet show, the Bump. So, you know, I'm still in good relationships with WWE, but nothing lasts forever. That's why living out here in Los Angeles, I have to make moves. I have to just keep doing my thing. You know, 2017, a couple days before my birthday, I got released from my WWE contract, and I had moved out to LA in August 2017. So I knew nothing lasts forever. Moved out here to, you know, get into the acting world and commercials. And, you know, I've been making moves. I always say just because moves aren't being announced doesn't mean moves aren't being made. So I'm trying to make moves out here, and then fast forward to after my release, and you know, the pandemic that just transpired, and then me finally getting the call from New Japan Pro Wrestling, which was a bucket list of mine with WWE. I was always intimidated by the style, but, you know, I love the style. And you know, I got that call, and I was so happy that New Japan was, you know, calling me up. I don't know if you want me to go into the story. I apologize. When I tend to talk, I kind of go.
It's really interesting, sir.
Yeah, I kind of go all over the place, you know, so I want people to understand me. So you control the interview. You're the boss.
No. Let's talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling right now, because that was actually the next topic. So it's not just a thing. So you were making moves, million-dollar moves, and now you are in New Japan Pro Wrestling. How's been the experience so far, and how did Fred Rosser got to New Japan Pro Wrestling? That's many wrestlers' dream. You finally crossed it off the bucket list. How's been things for you in New Japan Pro Wrestling? How's the creative part over there? Did you enjoy yourself so far?
Yeah, you know, it's always been a bucket list of mine to wrestle in Japan. in general, because anytime WWE, I was with WWE almost 10 years, and anytime WWE did a tour of Japan, I was always on a different tour or not on tour at all. So I've always wanted to be able to experience the culture firsthand. And I was always friends with Lance Hoyt, who at the time was part of New Japan. Now he's with AEW. And I was really cool with him in 2010. And then fast forward to September 2019, I had ran into him years and years later. And he asked me how I was doing. I ran into him at a show right here in Pomona, California. He asked me how I was doing. I said, yeah, I'm doing well out here, just trying to make moves. But I knew he was in New Japan at the time. I said, I've always wanted to work for New Japan or just try out somehow, some way. And he said that, you know, New Japan was running a show in LA at the Globe Theater in November of 2019. And he handed me a flyer and I said, I'll be there. So I think the show started at 7 p.m. I was there at 5 p.m. because 18 plus years in the business for me, I still wanted to get there early. I still wanted to get there early, meet everyone, and kind of feel the ring because it's a different ring. And I wanted to be able to sit there and watch their show from beginning to end as a fan and ask myself that same question: do I fit in? Do I fit in? Do I fit in? And after the show was done and all the smoke was clear, I said to myself, man, I can really hang with these guys, man. I really want to try out. I'm not unfamiliar with tryouts with WWE. May 4th, 2009, I beat out 75 guys and girls from all over the world. So I earned my contract with WWE. At 36 years old at the time, if I needed to try out at the LA dojo or try out whatever it took, I was going to do. And that was in November when I watched the show and then finally accepted that I belong here and I can hang with these guys. I reached out to Rocky Romero, who was backstage, and I talked to him just like I'm talking to you, that, you know, whatever it takes. And he said, well, let's see after the new year. And COVID wasn't really crazy, you know, in November, December. It was getting there in other countries, but here, you know, we weren't even thinking about it. We were thinking after the New Year's, I would maybe try out at the LA dojo and see if they liked me or not. So eventually, probably pandemic hits, was May or June of 2020 this year. Rocky Romero reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be a part of this New Japan Strong show. And I said, Rocky, thank you so much. Let me get back to my family, and because I have family around and I don't want to affect them with COVID or anything or bring it back into the household. So I double checked with my family. And, you know, I have an uncle who's a urologist here in Los Angeles, and I told him about this opportunity that we would be getting tested and doing everything that we needed to do to be safe. And he blessed me with the opportunity. So that meant the world to me, for my family to bless me and say, go ahead and do it. This is your bucket list that you want to, you know, cross off, do it. So once my family blessed me, I reached out to Rocky Romero and said, yeah, let's do it. And I've been going hard, man. I've been loving every minute of it. I've been loving every minute of it. And I always say, whether it's in front of 10 people, 10,000 people, or no people, this is still fun for me. And really, if I did this all for the money, I would have complained a long time ago. I really love this business. I really love putting on the best matches possible. Recently, with Tom Lawler, who was almost like a Kurt Angle to me, a dream match that I shared the ring with. Everything felt good. Everything looked good. Everything was just mean and nasty. And he won. Hopefully I can wrestle him a second time, this time in Japan, this time in front of a crowd. And because I haven't made it to Japan yet, you know, I haven't been there yet. I've just been doing American New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong shows. So my goal is to go out there and hit another home run with filthy one, Tom Lawler. So yeah, I just gotta, you know, keep my fingers crossed and pray every day.
Let's hope to see you in Japan soon. Fred, let's talk about what happened in 2013. You were a pioneer in pro wrestling because in 2013 you took the decision to come out as openly gay, the first man in WWE's history to do it. Many people know your story outside of the company, but at that point, what was Vincent Kennedy McMahon's reaction and locker room leaders like CM Punk? How did people took it? Because doing it in 2020 after Darren Young did it, it's way easier than doing it in 2013 with no one taking this decision and being an advocate basically for this community. How was that moment for you, and how did you took the decision to firmly say, I'm gay and I'm proud and I'm a pro wrestler?
Well, I made a lot of sacrifices. I sacrificed my WWE career to inspire others to be and accept themselves. Not only if you're LGBTQ, but anyone that gets bullied into silence. You might get bullied because you have facial hair, but in order to be strong and successful, you got to block the hate. I might get bullied because I had a stuttering problem growing up, and sometimes it comes and goes, but I embrace it. I'm 37, I don't care, But in order to be strong and successful, you got to block the hate. So that's my message to the masses, not just LGBTQ, but anyone that gets bullied into silence. And when I made the decision to come out, there are many reasons why I made the decision, but I ultimately made the decision because I wanted to be able to bring I hate using the word partner. Partner is like my tag team partner, Titus O'Neil. I wanted to be able to bring my boyfriend backstage to WWE and have him experience the masculine world of professional wrestling. I wanted to be able to bring him to red carpets and have him experience what I experienced. And I was able to do that. And, my ex at the time, we're still good friends. He wasn't a big wrestling fan, but he did follow the Attitude Era. And I asked him, I said, is any wrestler that you would want to meet from the Attitude Era? He said, if anybody he could meet, it would be Stone Cold Steve Austin. So one WrestleMania, I think before he was filming his show after Raw, he was almost about to go on air, and he stopped and talked to Nikki and I, and he was so kind. He was like, hey, how you enjoying WrestleMania weekend, kid? He was just so cool. And that meant the world to me for Steve Austin to be an ally, because we need more allies speaking up and speaking out. He don't give a shit what I do behind closed doors, as long as I'm happy, that's all that matters. And when I come into a ring and when I step into a locker room, I'm there to wrestle, I'm there to wow the crowd and entertain and be the suntan Superman, because I got a new nickname, the suntan Superman, that I want to be. And from guys like CM Punk, who was my coach on the first season of NXT, him and I said two words to one another. We weren't close at all. And for him, August 2013, after his match with Brock Lesnar, he's all iced up, SummerSlam match. And he comes up to me at the Staples Center in catering in front of everyone watching the show, and he told me to stand up. And I stood up, and he gave me a hug, and he said, if you have any problems with anyone in the locker room, you let me know, and he'll take care of it. And, him saying that in 2013, I still remember. You remember how people treated you. Maya Angelou, beautiful poet, she said, people will, and I might be saying it wrong, but she always said, she said that people won't remember what you did, but they'll remember what how you made them feel. You know what I mean? And, you remember how these people make you feel, not what they did, but how they made you feel. CM Punk to do that in front of everyone, Randy Orton, Big Show, Mark Henry, Sheamus, Titus, they all made it a lot easier for me to walk into a locker room. Me and Big Show, we were, very cool. Him and I lived in Miami at the time, and I always say in interviews, every time I bring his name up, we would always be on the same flights, and there would be times over the years he would hook me up with first class, however he did it. It was always amazing. He hooked me up at least 4 or 5 times. So, when I came out, people embraced me even more. People were cool to me. Still being out of WWE since 2017, I still get giddy when Randy Orton likes some of my stuff on social media. And I can only imagine how people feel when I like their stuff on social media. So I get giddy when guys like Randy do that for me. So it means the world to me. It means the world to me. And like I said, my fight's much more bigger than in the ring. It's outside of the ring, fighting bigotry and hatred and always trying to be the voice of the voiceless. So that's why my Block the Hate movement is so near and dear to my heart. It's a movement that, you know, like I said, in this world, we all receive hate for various reasons, but in order to be strong and successful, you got to block the hate. And it's like, I want this to be the next middle finger. You know what I mean? Block the hate, equality for all, not just for me, but for you who have to battle bigotry and hatred, you know? And I always say on my social media, people with social media will say, oh, I need a break from social media. I need a break from social media. Well, you can use social media in one or two ways. You can use it to shit on people, excuse my language, or you could use it to impact, motivate, and educate the masses. And that's what I do, because my social media is an open diary to the world. So anything I ever post always comes from the heart. So anything you see I post, it's coming from the heart. It's something that means the world to me. It's something that I can go back through my Instagram and check, oh, I remember that moment. I remember that moment. And I'm doing it, you know, digitally, you know, so it's something special. It's really special. And, you know, the holidays are coming around the corner. So anyone that's watching this, if they don't have anyone in their family that supports them or that are struggling like I did, be a part of my family on social media, my Twitter and Instagram, @RealFredRosser, not Darren Young, it's @RealFredRosser, my government name, and be a part of my family.
An inspiring story, sir. I want to say something in Spanish to all our fans out there since you mentioned your social media. Pueden seguir a Fred Roser, the Suntan Superman, directamente en sus redes sociales en Twitter y en Instagram como at @RealFredRoser. Al igual que eso, tiene toda su mercancía disponible en blogthehate.com, blogthehate.com o también en headquartersclothing.com. Esto va a salir al igual que eso al final de la entrevista con un arte que hizo Jacobo bien bonito. Gracias a Jacobo por el arte, gracias a Lu también por el arte, gracias a Jacobo por la edición. Y por último, y no menos importante, pueden conseguirlo en Cameo, cameo.com/FreddyFKA Darren Young. Ahí lo pueden buscar de igual manera. Si quieren un mensaje de cumpleaños, un mensaje de inspiración o una promo de lucha libre o un mensaje a algún familiar, algo que quieran de inspiración, este es el caballero para hacerlo. Así que vayan a cameo.com/FreddyFKA Darren Young. Y no menos importante, a todos los promotores en Latinoamérica, en Panamá, en Chile, en Argentina, en Puerto Rico. Este es el talento que ustedes necesitan en su compañía una vez finalice la pandemia. Y pueden conseguirlo directamente a todos los promotores en info@fredroser.com, info@fredroser.com. También en sus redes sociales, en Real Fred Roser, en tanto en Instagram como Twitter.
Info @RealFredRosser, right?
Yes, that's correct. info@fredroser.com. All the promoters out there.
No. Info @Real Fred Rosser, not info @Fred Rosser.
Perfect. I'll correct that. It's info@realfredroser.com.
There you go.
info@realfredroser.com. A todos los promotores en Chile, Argentina, Perú, que quieran un talento de calidad en su cartera. Este es el hombre que ustedes necesitan. Mr. Roser, last but not least, first of all, thank you so much for your time and such an inspirational story. What message can you send to all the fans out there that are eyeing the pro wrestling industry, but they don't know how to be a pro wrestler? They don't have a single idea of how to create their own pathway in this industry. What message can you send to them so they don't quit their dreams and they achieve their dreams like Fred Roser is doing right now?
Well, there's no excuses. You know, when I first was trying to get in WWE, they only wanted 6'2", 6'3", 300-pound guys. There was no room for smaller guys. 2020 and on, there's no excuses. There's so much out there, and no one should ever get, caught up in the, oh, this is a war, or it's WWE versus AEW versus Impact versus this versus that. Just watch it all, enjoy it all, love it all, because when it was WCW against Nitro, when it was WCW Nitro against Raw, I loved it all, you know. In my house, I had 3 TVs on. One had Nitro, one had Raw, the other one had Monday Night Football. So I loved it all. Still love it all as a fan. And if you have dreams and aspirations of doing this and you're 150 pounds, well, still get in the gym, put on 10 pounds so you look like an athlete, but never say there's no opportunity, because there's opportunity for all different sizes and shapes and ethnicities, everything. WWE is looking for the ultimate package, you know, the total package, you know, whether it's WWE or any other organization, you know. With New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Strong, the social media, like I said, is a second job. So however I could take organization that I'm working with and elevate them, I'm going to do it, you know. So anyone that's listening, if you have dreams of doing this, there's opportunity for anyone, whether it's in the ring or whether it's what you're doing, making moves, making $1 million moves, interviewing the suntan Superman. So there's opportunity for everyone. There's room for everyone at the finish line. Block the hate, salute the great.
Also, Mr. Roser, it's been such an honor to have you as our guest. Thank you so much for your time. I know you have a really tight schedule, so we really appreciate this. And to all our fans in Latin America, you can see Fred Roser at, we're at 2 places right now. First of all, United Wrestling Network, all Tuesdays at 8 p.m., well, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Fight TV, and on New Japan Strong every Friday on Fight TV. Don't miss it out, and support the Suntan Superman in this new opportunity he's getting in life. Thank you so much for your time, sir, and we wish you the best of luck in all projects.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.